Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. This week is just flying by. Happy Thursday, everybody. Let me see who's here. We have a great show today. I'm super excited. Preview, in case you don't remember from Tuesday what we're talking about today. New punch needle book. Just you wait. Just you wait. But in the meantime, let me see who's here. And then we have to do announcements because we have so many announcements to do. I guess I've been alone all morning because I feel like I'm crazy right now and I'm in like a weird vacuum. Heather, good morning. I super miss you. We have got to get together next week. I super miss you. I was just talking to Susan too because she's coming through Connecticut. But my plan is to see my mom this weekend, so we might miss each other. I would love to see Susan. She puts all those great patterns up on the Facebook page. Robin, great to see you. Robin, I just want to let you know I sent you out your stuff for the class, and I have your other two things going up, but I had to get the class stuff out the door to be sure it arrived in time. Martha, great to see you. We had a great Zoom yesterday. Robin was on, Martha was on, a bunch of buddies were on. We missed you, Donna. I know that you weren't there because Catherine told us and all that. So happy when people are off getting their shots. My mom got hers the day before yesterday, the first one. It's such good news. It makes me feel like, you know, when you're putting a picnic blanket down, you're putting the rocks on the corner to make sure nothing bad happens. That's how it makes me feel when I hear that all of you are getting shots and everything is going forward, because it would be nice to plan things and do things and get together and just leave the house again, right? So Martha, good to see you. Donna, great to see you. Linda, great to see you. It was great seeing you yesterday on Zoom. Always. Beverly, good morning. In rainy Washington, here too in Connecticut, it's pretty gray and bleak, but at least it's warming up again for us. We'll see what you all have got out there. You always let us know what you've got. Betty, good to see you. I saw your comment at the end of the day on Tuesday, I guess, and I didn't realize you were on. I'm so happy that you're there. Looking forward. Yep, Simone's book it's just over the top. It's just over the top. And I just learned a fellow countrywoman of yours, Betty. She's also Canadian. So all of that is to come. Just wait till you see this book. Gray day today, but I'll try to brighten it up, Linda. I'll try. Oh, good morning, Penny. It's stormy in Myrtle Beach. Oh, well, we know we're about to turn the corner with this season, hopefully, sooner rather than later. Sheila, good morning in Benton City, Washington. You were busy. You were busy yesterday during Zoom with your sister's cooking in St. Patrick's Day. I bet. You know, I'm so sorry I didn't even say Happy St. Patrick's Day because we were on Zoom yesterday. Happy belated St. Patrick's Day. You know, I guess we didn't celebrate much this year. We celebrated more when my grandmother was alive because she was Irish and it was her birthday. And she was such a wild little fresh little sprite. It was fun doing stuff with her on those special days. But happy belated St. Patrick's Day. And if you didn't catch the Tuesday episode, I put out on Ribbon Candy Hooking, which is my site, and also the Facebook group, Rug Hooking and Punch Needle Club, I put out 2 free patterns that you can download, click on and download, 4 Irish stamps from, I think, 1962 they were. Just to let you know, stamps in general, if you're interested in designing and you love designs, most stamps that are pre-1971 are copyright free. Just to let you know, that's just a tidbit. You have to do a little research, but just to make sort of a frame around it. But anyway, I put 2 stamps up that are actually from Ireland that I thought would, so they're both kind of mythical, one bird and one winged cow. I thought they might be good rug hooking designs, or maybe something small for Russian punch needle kind of thing, or maybe something for regular sized Oxford type punch needle. But those are there for you still, and those will remain for free because that was for fun for St. Patrick's Day. So Sheila H., hello in Massachusetts, good to see you. Jennifer, you're on, hi. Good to see you. And Anita, you're on your way out soon for a nice drive with some friends and out to lunch. Oh, I'm so glad, Anita. I'm so glad. If you have to leave midway, you know you can catch up later because you've got to see this book. You're going to go crazy for this book. And because Simone is in Canada, it's going to be, I think, easy for Canadian friends to get this book straight from her. So make sure you tune back if you pop out. Oh, thank you, Linda. Please give the thumbs up, share, comment, all that stuff. Whew, it's hot in here. I always appreciate that, and it helps the channel a ton. Catherine, good morning. It was great to see you on Zoom yesterday. We have such good times on Zoom. I'll try to plan some Zooms on weekend evenings again. I'll try to get back to that. I've just been crazy, but I'd love to get back to that because I know different people can tune in at different times, and I love to get together and chat with everybody all of the time, but I know you can't always make it. So I'll try to make some more Zoom dates that are a bit more accessible. That is right, Penny. It is bingo tomorrow. Bingo tomorrow. And I was making the bingo cards last night. I worked all day to fulfill as many orders as I could because I took the weekend off, which is like, for me, crazy. I don't take weekends off. So I'm playing catch up, like chasing my tail style. And I was making the bingo cards, and then I saw a message pop up that Kira had already bought one. They were already available on the site, but I was actually putting the cards together, and I thought, already the bingo stuff already. I don't know how you all find it, but you just know. You're like like bloodhounds. You know when it's bingo time, that it's time to get those cards. I'll tell you about that in a second in case you're new to the channel. Kimberly, good morning. Great to see you, Kimberly. Cindy, good morning. I'm looking forward to it too. This is going to be a great episode today. April, great to see you too. Happy morning. Live rug cooking intro book. It was fantastic. Okay, great. I'm looking at comments in two different places. I'm cheating. Suze, good morning in Kansas. Great to see you. Happy Thursday. Can't believe it's Thursday. Pamela, good morning in Ontario. Great to see you, Pamela. I'm glad you're on. Cynthia, good morning. Great to see you. And Lily, you are on. I have that book. It's phenomenal. Oh, Lily, you have this one. Great. You must belong to the Rug Cooking Book Club. More on that. For those of you that don't belong to it, I'll tell you about that too. It is really good. Mom, you're there. You lost track of the time, but you are here in perfect time. Rainey and Granby, I'm going to see you this weekend. Mom, I'm going to bring this book for you too so you can check it out. Because at this moment, my mom is more of a puncher than I am. And you have got to see this book, Mom. You're going to flip your flipper. Judith, good morning in Georgia. The sun is finally out. Oh, I love this group too. I'm so happy that the sun is out for you. That is such good news. Finally here. I miss you too, Lily. I miss you too. I just sent you some beautiful stuff. So we're together in that way. I know you work a ton. Oh, good. You're finding each other in Georgia. That's great. And my love, Carol, is on too. There you are. Carol, this has been a crazy week again. Carol, Liz, and I like to get together, and hopefully my mom next time at one of the wineries in Connecticut. So hopefully we'll do that soon because it's going to get warm again. That's what I heard. Don't tell Murphy or he'll intervene. Pamela says Simone is an amazing designer and teacher. That is a great testimonial. There's a chance that Simone might pop on. She's at home, but she said her daughter's on the school thing like my kids always are. And it really messes with the internet. I just met her for the first time on chatting this morning, and she seems super lovely. I'm not surprised that she's a phenomenal teacher because this book is over the top. I saw Love Rug. Okay, so Sheila, that was you that said I saw a live rug cooking intro to this book, and it's fantastic. Oh, have you taken a class with her, Anita? That is great, and her daughter helps her like you. Oh, how cute. I wonder, I didn't get a chance to ask her the age of her daughter. Is she older than Joss? A little bit older? That is so cute. Okay, so Judith says Gainesville, and April's in Blairsville, making good connections. You saw her on an interview, Lily. So she is known. Well, I know she's been in Celebration, in rug cooking, obviously. But hey, Amber, good morning. Good to see you. Oh, good. Look at two buddies. April and Judith just figured out that they're close by each other. Isn't that great? I mean, really, that is so good. This is the time that we can maybe start getting together again, depending on how things are in your area. So a couple of things, and I want to get right into content. I'm probably going to run over a little bit today. Bingo, for those of you that don't know, we play bingo once a month on this channel on Friday night, which is our cocktail night. We don't do a live morning show on Friday. We do a live evening show. And instead of being coffee time, it's cocktail time. Midnight Haze, Ralda, right? Ralda, good to see you, and it was great to have you on the call yesterday. Can't wait to see your face next time. So we do bingo once a month. So just to let you know, the theme for tomorrow, I am sweating, my something's off. The theme for tomorrow is funny calendar days. You know how sometimes on the calendar it's like, I always say this, my birthday happens to be Rare Disease Day, but your birthday is probably something beautiful like Wildflower Day or Book Day or something like that. But I picked out 60 funny calendar days from mostly the US, but some from other places. And then rugs that sort of correspond to them. So our bingo theme is calendar days, like salad days, calendar days. And you can get the bingo cards online now. You can get them for $3 each. The link is in the description of this video. You can see you can click right on that link and get the bingo cards for tomorrow night. So you need to have them printed for tomorrow night. I will, I will remind you tomorrow that the game is blackout. We don't do directional, we do blackout, and it takes about 2 hours. We should be done in 2 hours. If I'm doing it at my mom's, I won't have the wheel, and we'll have to think of a different invention, but it'll be super fun. And for those of you that win, mathematically, it should be one card that wins again. So the odds should be 1 out of 12, which is quite good, because if it means if you win, you're going to win quite a bit. And then you get to spend that money in the ribbon candy hooking store. And whether you like my patterns or you need anything like that, you could always get supplies, hooks, backing fabric, plain door wool, something like that, transfer medium, something like that. I have the fiber tape, the red dot. I have everything. You just need to ask. So you can always use your money that way. I don't keep any of it. We just pool it all, divide it up by the winners, and then you get a gift certificate or code for the shop to go shopping. So that is always fun. Ruth, great to see you in Laurel, Maryland. Great to see you. So that is bingo. We'll be doing that tomorrow. Just make sure that your cards are printed. You could buy as many cards as you can handle. And we do some fun commentary in between. Quick preview to next Monday. So that's Friday. Oh, me too, Wendy. Oh, it'll be fun. So I got my box. I got my box from NASA. I wanted to show you this real quick because we're going to do this on Monday. I'm doing the punch needle review right now. But I wanted to show you, I got NASA's box. I showed this on Zoom yesterday. She did such a beautiful, packaging job. It's crazy. So this is a fast forward thing to all these beautiful natural dyes that she does. She sent me a little gift too. I'll show you that on Monday. So this is the book that I'm going to be reviewing on, because we're going to be working together, and I'm offering some of her needle felting designs as rug hooking and punch designs on a much larger scale. In the ribbon candy hooking store. So we're working on that together now. But this is coming up on Monday. So look out for that. All right. That is a to be continued. But for today, we have got a fantastic book. I might go over a little bit. We'll see how it goes. I'm looking at this book that just arrived. Oh, Ralda says, have you had a chance to ship your wool? No, I'm shipping them today. All of the new swatches are going out today. So let me know if you need anything else tweaked in that order. I had to put out all of the orders for the class, which is, there's 2 classes next week. So all of those had to go out. And today the second wave of swatches went out because I had to dye a second time for swatches. I said initially, when they're sold out, they're sold out. But I just couldn't stick with it because it just seems too mean to do that. So I took a second wave of order on the swatches. Those are dyed, dried, and those are going out today. So let me know if you need anything else in that order because those will ship today. So I got this great book. When you belong to the Rug Hooking, as in Rug Hooking Magazine book club, it doesn't cost anything to join, but they will send you, they will, just so you know, they charge your card and send you when the next book comes out. So I joined, and I knew the next book that they would send would be this punch needle book. That's why I joined. And so I got it immediately, and I'm not seeing it yet, but you want to look for it. I'll remind you at the end of the episode. You want to look for it on Rug Hooking Magazine, or I will give you the author's direct email. If you're in Canada, you probably want to do that because she's in Canada. So let's take a look at this book. You're just not going to believe this book. This is called Punch Needle Techniques and Projects by Simone Vojvodin. I think I said that right. She put the emphasis on the Voy, V-O-J. Can you see that okay? And this is a picture of her here. It's always nice to know who we're talking about. Let me get her in focus. Come on, camera. She looks so nice. So this book, I'm going to say it, is the best punch needle book I've seen. I know that, I know we've reviewed all the Amy Oxford books and other punch needle books. For me, this is the best punch needle book I have ever seen. And to be honest, I can't imagine that in the future there will be another punch needle book that will be as good as this one. And I'm not kidding, I'm not exaggerating. I don't get anything for saying this, as you know. This is my opinion. This is the best. And we're going to see why this is the best. But I have to turn this heat down because I'm going to expire. Like I'm going to actually expire, as in drop dead. Whew, got the heat blasting to dry off some of the yarn I dyed. So the thing about this book is that I'm going to go through it and tell you why it's so special and different. It's very concise, not meaning short, meaning it's concise. and it's very, very, very complete. So I opened this book. It includes 7 projects at the end, so we're going to look at a couple of those at the end. What I love about this book, the organization, the information is concise. It's just an at your fingertips kind of a thing. The tone, again, you know this is important to me when I look at a book, is very conversational and forthcoming and helpful. I don't get the feeling that she is keeping anything back or keeping any trade secrets. I get the feeling that she's telling you the best of everything that she knows because she wants you to do well. That's a good place to start. So thank you so much for doing more. Do you have any hooking fabric with white grid lines? Hazel, I have the monk's cloth that's gridded. If you punch directly into wool, I have a lot of like plaids and stuff like that. I think, do you mean the monk's cloth? Because if so, I do have that gridded. I also have rug warp and linen, obviously not gridded, but the monk's cloth. The monk's cloth I currently have is Searsport, and it's got just the one line, actually not the grid, unless you need a small amount. Then I have the other one that was gridded. So right now I have the one with just the parallel lines. I hope that makes sense. So we start out this book in chapter 1 with punch needle, a brief history. Now we've done this over many coffee times, talked about the history of punch needle. It's a concise history, but it's very good. It's in a nutshell what you need to know. She's showing you the evolution of the punch needle, starting with Ebenezer Ross. And do you remember that name first came up for us on our first bingo night? Ebenezer Ross is credited from Toledo, Ohio, is credited with being the first person who sort of created the punch needle. This is more of the shuttle needle kind of a thing. And then she talks about the Garretts, and we love talking about the Garretts, don't we? She talks a little bit about them. She touches on George Wells, but it's like a 2-page history, which I think is a great amount for the history of punch needle. And she talks about the important terms. You know, when you're approaching as a beginner, you don't always understand the languages. It's like another language people are speaking. She really defines the terms really clearly, what things mean. If you watch videos or you hear other people talking, she really has the vocabulary down too. And then the next part is like the bare necessities, the frames, the backing, the needle itself. She shows you just, you know, what you need to start punching. And then she goes into a lot more detail, which is really helpful. So she talks about foundation materials. How do you know that you're choosing the right needle? What she says about that, Ralda, I would say, I mean, my favorite backing is, for me, monk's cloth. It depends on what you're doing. If you're using really thick strips, if you like to hook primitive and like a number 8, I would say linen is a little bit easier on your hands and on your wrists with the pulling. It's a little bit looser. Monk's cloth is a little bit tighter, and rug warp is even tighter. So the one that, if you're hooking very wide, I would stay away from rug warp, and monk's cloth might be a borderline one for you. I hook 8s into a monk's cloth all the time, and I love monk's cloth. It's my favorite. But most people seem to prefer linen. If you're punching, you want monk's cloth. If you're hooking real thin, you could go monk's cloth or linen or rug warp, really. But let me know what project you're working on, because that'll help determine what'll be best for you in terms of a backing. The thing about linen is it's always very textured. For me, it's with my 3 different strengths of glasses, it's sometimes hard to see what I'm doing with great light. I like the monk's cloth because of the very bare white background. I can see really well, and I just prefer the way it feels. But it can go either way, and people can give their opinions too. So Simone says she shows something in this chapter on choosing your supplies that I've never seen before that is insanely helpful. It's this thing here that I'm going to be referring to. You see, we've seen this kind of thing before for sure, and I've seen it on Facebook too. She gives you a list of things, like for example, this is how are you going to choose your needle? What needle do you think you're going to need to use? She says, do you have a stash of thick, chunky weight yarns that you want to use? Well, choose a regular needle. That's super helpful. Number 2, do you want to make a rug with wool strips or combine wool strips and yarn? Use a regular in either a 10 or a 9. Do you want to use both thick and thin yarns? And she goes on like this with all these different points, saying, what are you envisioning making? And if that's the thing that you're going to try making next, you should get that needle. It's very specific. It's much more helpful than seeing a picture of needles with the size of the loop. She's actually telling you, are you going to do this or are you going to do this? And then, you know, it leads you to think, okay, well, I think that sounds good. I think I'm going to do that one. and there's the needle for you. So that's going to be extremely helpful. She talks about working with different yarns and other fibers. Again, incredibly helpful. I have not seen anything like this before. We talk about fancy fibers all the time because we hook with fancy fibers all the time. And certainly the last kits that I've put out have been crazy amounts of fancy fibers. And it is a lot of fun. And I guess in the springtime and even over Christmas, I feel more like using them. But it's hard to use them. You have to use them in the right context, or you're not going to have a lot of success. You might have a lot of grief and aggravation. But Simone gives a chart that's super, super helpful that breaks it down for you into red light, yellow light, green light. In other words, it's going to be great. Stop what you're doing. It's not going to work. Or it's going to be borderline. So maybe. And it's super helpful. So in the green light category, she writes bullet points like any smooth, evenly spun yarn, non-lumpy, bumpy, loopy eyelash yarn, t-shirt strips, jerseys, stripes, patterns, great, wool strips, denim, polar, fleece, velour. She goes right down with a bunch more things in the green light column. And then in the yellow column, she's like slightly fuzzy yarn or fabric, thinner, uneven yarns, very specific description. If you're looking at your yarn and you see chiffon or georgette, ooh, in the yellow column tends to fray, that might not be a great one to punch with. So, for example, I'm going to be working with velvet soon, and I keep talking with Diane Collins-Tobias, who I love. I love her velvet, and she's saying, are you going to experiment with punching with it, which I haven't done yet. Looking at this first is going to help me figure out whether that's going to be good or not. I'm going to try either way because it's stretch velvet. It's probably going to be fine. But I'm guessing because velour is in the yellow column that it could go either way. But I'm still going to try and find out. It's just nice to know what to expect, you know. Nobody likes a pig's breakfast when you're struggling with your supplies. And then she gives you the red light fibers that I like how she says usually will not punch properly. Because it's so nice to not have a hard no. If you're in love with your fiber and you really want to give it a try, it's so nice that she says usually will not punch well. Still give it a try, right? Give it a try if you're in love. Extremely thick, lumpy, uneven yarn, yarns with lots of holes in them, you know, the novelty ones that have lots of holes and sort of laciness to them. Boucle, the big lumpy, loopy yarns and stuff. Of course, when you are punching, you can always turn the thing over if you are determined to use a fiber that you love and hook the, bits with a hook on the other side to fill in spots that you want with the fiber you want. If it's not going to go through the needle, you can always do that. So, oh, Ralda, you don't have so much. You're going to get into it just like this, so fast. The advantage of having a vintage adjustable needle to punch. You can do all that, Heather. That's a good point. Yep, that's a really good point. So I want to also show you, in Amy Oxford's book, she shows you how to make the big frames that are like a card table cutout. I love that information. I also love this information, how to make a carpet tack frame. She tells you just how to do it. I had a piece of carpet tack, because I always do, because this is how I hang my rugs around. This is so easy to get, and it's so cheap. And Simone's telling you how to make a frame out of carpet tack. This is the kind of thing that somebody even like me can do, who probably hammer my face to my knee before I hammer the thing into the frame. I think that even I could make a carpet tack frame. So super, super helpful, useful information. She talks about the edges, like, how you want to seal your edges, whether you're taping them or serging them or zigzagging them, and why you need to seal them to stop them from fraying. She gives a page about copyright, which is always good to have, always good to refer to. And I have to say, when she gets into talking about color, this is fantastic information. This is a great book, not just for people who punch, but also for people who hook or people who like art. There is so much information on every page on so many different subjects. So when she talks about color, it looks like it's going to be standard color information, and it's not. She talks about hue, value, saturation, all of those small pockets in the conversation of color that really affect decisions, choices, your taste, my taste. It's so interesting. She talks about color temperature, and it's for the layman. It's not for somebody who has a degree in art. It's for the layman. It's very conversational, but she makes some excellent points about color so that you can say to yourself, that's why I like that color more than this color, or this color is going to work better than that color. I get it. Very, very, very simple and beautiful. And then she shows pictures like this that are just over the top. the same thing hooked with different colors, right? Almost like a day scene and a night scene. Yeah, Heather, it's so good. It's so good to be open to punching and then flipping it over and hooking in the parts that didn't work for punching. That's just my way. I love that way. I tend to do the punching first and then turn it over and hook the small parts that wouldn't go through the punch needle or that I wanted to do differently or tiny, tiny, tiny scale, that kind of thing. So many options, right? So many options. But she does so much with color. And then she shows you this great photo of how she does her color planning. Look at that. Like the same image several times, and she's got out the box of crayons and a little bit of paint, and she's just feeling her way with color, thinking about the things she talks about in this chapter. Warm, cold, day, night, basic choices like that, but really good to bring to the front of your mind when you're planning. She talks all about frames, different kind of frames, not just expensive frames, frames you can make, frames that are less expensive. We tend to trip ourselves up with buying a lot of expensive stuff, and you don't always need to do that. You can make a frame out of carpet tack, right? And you're going to have a lot of success doing that. So it's so nice that she's showing you other ways. There's a whole chapter on just threading the punch needle, right, for true beginners. And she's showing you some great photos of actually punching, which is what you need to see when you're punching, because you think, well, what do you do with the thing? Where are the loops going? Backwards, forwards, up, down. She's showing you a lot of pictures. And there's a lot on gauge, too, because when we talk about the Oxford punch, we're always talking about fine versus regular. She's showing you the stitch gauge throughout the book, and also in her own patterns in the back. She's showing you stitch gauge really close up. Super, super, super informational. I'm skipping lots of pages because I want you to get the book. You're not going to be sorry that you got this book. This is like a gem. And then she has a whole chapter on additional considerations, like where should I start punching first, directions, making a dot as opposed to like a loop, making a circular dot. Odd things that fall into that weird bag of tricks that once in a while you pull from, but not always. She addresses a lot of those kinds of things, small design elements, outer border edges, things that you don't need until you come to them. Well, you flip to this chapter and a bunch of your questions are answered right there. This is a great piece that she did herself. I know that this one was in Celebration. It's called Who Lives There? Designed and punched by the author. Check this out. Sometimes you see things that are punched, and for me, they're so heavy in terms of being directional that I find it distracting. Then you see things like this that are like, are you kidding me? Like, this is just, and look at how she breaks the border. It's just over the top. Yeah, Judith, you need this book. Everybody needs this book. This is so helpful, so beautiful. But, my point is like, when I'm looking at her work, I don't think there's any difference in quality or heritage between punch needle and rug hook. I think they are both equally noble crafts / arts. I don't think one is better or more anything than the other. But the thing that I like more about rug hooking is, in general, is the way that the finished piece looks. I will make a 100% exception when I see pieces that look like Simone's pieces. For me, you don't get a strong directional flow. It looks like a picture without a lot of distraction in the surface. And that, I guess, is the sign of a real artist. Her work just looks so crazy, over the top, even, and not in a traditional way, like not even like uniform, but like colorful and variety. Like, what am I trying to say? It looks like it could equally be, until I get on top of it, punching or hooking. I'm not seeing the sort of telltale things that sometimes look like punching. I'm seeing what looks like an absolute color masterpiece. And she's showing you how to do all these techniques. This is all stuff that you can handle. This whole chapter is on punching with wool strips, because if you notice, there are some strips here, right? These are definitely strips. Those are super wide. She's showing you how to do that with the punch. I struggle with this a lot. I did a video on it. I struggle with it a lot. She's going to be way better at this than I am. So she's telling you how to do this in this whole chapter. Punching with wool strips, punching words, right? That's a big one too. Keeping them open and airy so you don't knot yourself up and make a mess out of it. And then this book, I'm going to go over a little bit. This book sort of transcends the Earth and the Milky Way and goes into a new place because she starts talking about using a punch needle to do sculptural work, like Waldoboro style work. Yes. So we're aware of it, it happens, but have you ever seen it look like this? What? How crazy is that? That is like luscious, lush, gorgeous pile. So she's doing this with a punch needle. And she's telling you how to do it with a punch needle. I just find this amazing. Judith says, okay, so Matthew says, what would you say are the telltale signs of punch versus hooking? I wouldn't say that there are finite ones. I would say for myself, when I see something that has a kind of low pile and is all directional, that's a telltale thing for me that it's punching. It's not that I necessarily like the higher pile punch, like I've got an 8 and that's not my favorite at all. But I like to not see a ton of direction for my own eye. Every person is going to be different. But for my own eye, I don't like directional lines to be the thing that draws me in. I like the design and the color to be the thing that draws me in. So sometimes for me, punch looks a little too channel-y, like there's too many channels going on. None of that occurs in this book. None of that occurs in this book. So she's, number one, a way better puncher than I will ever be. And number two, she's obviously mastered it. So all of those sort of secrets are here. Again, it's the channel look, like the sort of low pile look, or for the people who prefer the back of the punching, like the wrong side, because they like the channel look, totally nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But that will look distinctly punch versus rug hooked. Because, with rug hook, you're always looking at a pile that's like loops. You would never get that kind of channel effect with rug hooking. And you can get it with punch, and often it is what people want. It is the desired effect. So there are so many different ways, but for me, I can usually tell the difference pretty quickly between a punch piece and a hooked piece. And this book defies the idea in my head that I can, because now I wonder if I can. The pieces I'm seeing of hers close up, for me, it's pretty impossible to tell whether they're hooked or punched with yarn. So I just think it's an extraordinary book. Judith said, I just bought an Oxford punch needle, 8.5 regular. I think the punch is bigger than I want. It's just beautiful. Okay. Yeah. I have the Peacock. I bought the Peacock in, I think, an 8. It's a very high pile, but I can see using it here and there. I used it for a piece I did in a video. I'll probably go to it less because the pile is so high, and of course that's using a lot more wool too. But again, that's a personal choice thing. Linda says the Woolery has it for $28. Rug Hooking Magazine Book Club has it for $22. Thank you. And I have the direct address of Simone. So you can get it. If you're in Canada, I would write to Simone, again, because she's in Canada. Her address, I'm going to give it to you, and then I'll put it into the description of the video, is Simone, which is Simone, at redmapleruggery.com. Simone at redmapleruggery.com. No problem, Matthew. Again, it's my opinion, channels versus not. I like things with a little bit of a higher pile, so that's just me, but there are everything is great. It's just a technique thing that can be different. So she's showing you this whole Waldoboro sort of punching high pile and sculpturing. When we're talking about sculpturing, whether you're doing it with a punch needle or a rug hook, what it means is you're like Mr. Miyagi, bringing it through and trimming it like a bonsai tree, right? You're getting a kind of pom-pom effect on it. We've done episodes on Waldoboro, but if that's not familiar, it's going to look like, where am I? Here. You're punching let me get it in focus, punching your strands through, and you're trimming them for a desired effect. This, when you're doing it in rug hooking, is called Waldoboro, as in Waldoboro, Maine. It's a technique that was sort of evolved, originates to that immediate area. Is quite popular, is considered fairly difficult in the world of hooking. Simone's showing you how to do it with a punch needle, and I'm really eager to try. It looks really, really well done, the introduction to doing that sort of sculpturing with the punch needle. I think it's over the top. And then she shows you chapters like this with fancy stitches. Now when I look at something like this, I think, am I looking at a book on crewel embroidery, or punch, because how can she get such fantastic lines and sort of lengths, stitches, using a punch needle? Well, she can, and you can too. I had never even thought of getting some of the effects that she's showing in these pictures with a punch needle. It would not even occur to me to try doing it without a needle, like a sewing needle, like an embroidery needle. She's got a whole chapter on more fancy stitches and loops. So this is just, it's just crazy. And guess what else you can do with a punch needle? You probably knew this, but I would not have tried this without looking at this chapter. You can do prati with a punch needle, right? She's showing you just how to do it. Super, super, super helpful. You know, and this, for me, more than anything I've seen before, makes me feel a lot more interested in using the punch needle more often. I use it sometimes. I definitely favor hooking. This book, even for me, who's pretty set in my ways, really makes me think, yeah, I need to get those needles out and I need to start fooling with them. And then she has a whole chapter on finishing the rug, and it's really good. She talks about hemming the rug. You know, we always go to like whipping and doing really time-consuming finishes. She shows you all those kinds of finishes, but she also shows you just hemming the rug, just simple finishes to get it done if you don't want to add anything to the composition. I love to hem my rugs more than whip stitch, but yet this picture makes me wonder what I like the most. This is also by Simone. This is what I use for the thumbnail. But take a look at this piece with the whip stitched border, and look what she did, right? Do you see how the whip stitching went right up to the horse's bridle? I mean, that's something that a genius does. That's not something I would ever think of. This is like genius brain at work. And then she's got it coming down on the other side like a little end of a rope, like a little tassel. I mean, isn't that something? That is something. So she shows you all kinds of finishes. And this is probably the greatest chapter of all, mistakes and troubleshooting. You know, when you do something wrong, I don't know how many times a day on the page I see people on the Facebook page say, I was doing this with punch, what happened? And they show a close-up of something, and everyone says, oh, I think you did this, or I think you did. If you just look at this book on these pages, anything that could happen with the punch needle that could fall into the category of a pig's breakfast is going to be addressed on these few pages. It's very concise. It's very good. Hey, Tad, good to see you. I've been thinking about you. Catching a prati punch needle. Wowza, right, Mom? I know. So clever. It's super clever. That's the thing about this book. It's everything. It's everything plus Waldoboro punch needle and prati punch needle. That if I was going to review the book, I would say it's everything plus those crazy things. And then, as if that wasn't enough, then she starts the projects. And she gives tons of projects that you can do with the designs, of course, but super helpful. And what I like about her projects, a lot of them are smaller, practical like this, right, this kind of thing. But then, I'm just going to stand for a second. She walks you right through it. It's not like, okay, good luck with that. She walks you right through it. She walks you right through doing the project. And I'm not done yet. I'm definitely going over. Sorry about that. It's just too good. It's too good to rush. She walks you right through the whole design. You know, so you're seeing pictures as she goes. And you're looking at yours at the same time going, yeah, it looks pretty much like that, so I must be doing okay. So that's what's really helpful and different for me also with this book is she sticks with you while you're doing it. And she shows you great, you know, this is a great project too, the Be Kind bag. It's a zip-up bag. And hey, if you don't need a zip-up bag, you still probably want to look at this chapter because she's showing you real useful things like, you know, for people that are always asking questions about how to finish pillows and close seams, she's showing you amazing close-up pictures like this that can be applied not just to like a zip-up bag, but a pillow if you're finishing something like that. But she's showing you beautiful, beautiful projects at the end that are just gorgeous. And oh God, I just can't stop. Two more things. So at the end, one of the projects is Alternative Fibers Landscape. So she's showing you punching this landscape, which is insane. But can you see that there's some crazy fibers in there? It's a super gray day here, but can you see she's got some different fibers she punched with? So when you look at that, refer back at the beginning of the book to the red light, green light, yellow light fibers, because this looks like eyelash. She managed to punch that beautifully. She's got a bunch of fluffy duffies all through this composition. And again, she's showing you from the beginning to the end what it's going to look like as you go. This is one of her projects at the end, which of course goes back to the 1800s. It's punching with a punch needle. I thought my stream just ended. And, oh, hey, Anne, good to see you. Oh, Anne, here's another one for your book list. Your husband's going to be so upset with me. But, you know, when you see truly antique pieces from the 19th century where people have hooked. Oh, Simone came on. I know, it's you probably, when there's someone else in the house on the computer, it can be so hard. Simone came on, so at the bottom of the thread, this is Simone's book that I've been reviewing all this time. So she's down there if you want to say hi. But anyway, so this feather tufting is when you are punching directly onto another backing and you're not finishing the entire piece. You're leaving your backing fabric showing. She's showing this in this example with the Snuggle Bunny and punching right onto wool. Now, is this not something that you need to do in your life? I mean, I have not seen, all the books we look at, I have not seen anybody show us something like this, a project like this. I feel like this opens up the horizons into like a sci-fi fantasy vista, endless. So yeah, this is a book that you need. This is definitely a book that you need. So again, in terms of recommending this, I just can't recommend it highly enough. The patterns are in the back and they're already reversed for punch. It's incredible. So all the great feedback, Simone, that you get, you deserve, and then a lot more. So this book is available from Rug Hooking Magazine. If you go on their site, you should probably join their book club, right? Because it's free to join. This is going to be the first book that they're offering right now, because this is the current, very, very new one. But Simone also can be reached at her email, which I want to give you again. And Simone is in Canada. So Simone, SIMONE, at redmapleruggery.com. Everybody needs this book. I'm so happy that I have it because I'm going to be looking at the different chapters and projects all the time. I'm going to be referring to it all the time. It's absolutely gorgeous and so many good ideas. Simone, you did such a good job showing us different things. And we all appreciate that. We tend to see the same things over and over and how to, and this is right and this is wrong. You showed us a lot of designs that are so, and techniques that are so different that bring us over the top. You know, the proddy, the punching directly onto the wool, the sculpting, you know, the Waldoboro using the punch needle. These are things we just don't see that we're seeing all in one book. And that is like, that makes it really the definitive book for me on punch needle, the definitive. If I were going to pick one, I would pick this one. I think it has the most and the best info in it, and for my taste, the best designs. I love the design projects that are in there too. So congratulations on an amazing book. Oh, it's .ca. I'm so sorry, Simone. Of course it is. Canada, not .com, .ca for Canada. So if you're writing to Simone, Simone at redmapleruggery.ca, right, for Canada. I'm so sorry. That's me being a ding-dong because I'm U.S.-centric and a ding-dong. So I hope you enjoyed that. I like to see all this great feedback because it's richly deserved. Super congrats on a wonderful book. It is the best book that's come out in it is the best book that's come out in ages, not just punch book. It's the best book that's come out in ages for technique projects and everything. It's super, super good. Hey, everybody, we ran over. Great to see you. Don't forget, bingo is tomorrow night. Get your cards at ribboncandyhooking.com. The link to it is right here. I'll put Simone's email into this as soon as I hang up with you. Get your bingo cards and make sure you have them printed out by tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when we play our bingo game. Good luck to everybody before then. Make sure you get that done. And what else? I guess that's it. We will look at needle felting, and we will look at Nera Russo's work on Monday. And in the meantime, bingo tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Yeah, I think that's it. Simone, thank you again. And remember, everybody, CA, not .com. Simone, you did a great book. Everybody's going to be all over it. And everybody loves you already, apparently, so you should feel great about yourself. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. It's Thursday. Happy Thursday, everybody. I will see you on Friday tomorrow for bingo night. Have a great day. I'll see you then. I'm going to ride this out for a minute so it doesn't get cut. See you tomorrow.